British geologists first surveyed the Kuwaiti desert in the 1930s. The result was the discovery of the Burgan oil field, the second most prolific in the world. Since the valves were opened in 1946, oil has been flowing freely from its wells under its own pressure at extraordinary rates. But 60 years later, Burgan is past its peak.
The early wells in Burgan were about, one well would produce 15,000 barrels per day. That same well today would produce 1,500 barrels a day. So you have to drill new wells, horizontal wells, and just, drill more wells.
To prolong its life, the Kuwait Oil Company now holds Burgan's output at a level well below what it produced at its peak. Older oil fields, its CEO admits, need costly nurturing.
They would need to be taken care of, maybe convert naturally flowing wells into artificial lifts. That would require, installation of pumps. So the cost per barrel is going to increase. Where it used to be very cheap producing these reservoirs, it could be very expensive to produce them in the future.
Even if the mature giants like Burgan are fading, Mr. Al-Zanki maintains Kuwait has ample undeveloped reservoirs which can help satisfy the world's increasing appetite.
Today we're not one field dependent. Today we have numerous fields that are on production, and also in the future we will have to develop other fields, other reservoirs, In the northern part, we've been very successful in exploring the deep horizon, and it's giving us great production capabilities or good reserves.
But the reservoirs in northern Kuwait are not like the prolific supergiant fields to the south. They're much deeper underground. They're oil created in an earlier geological era.
The reservoirs down there are very patchy. They're much different from the prime stuff above. But overall, the prime big ones have been found long ago. The prime big ones produce the most. And scratching around, adding these small little bits won't really keep up production to any significant degree.
If Kuwait's reserves are a mystery, Saudi Arabia's across the desert there to the south are still more so. The Saudis produce over 9 million barrels of oil every day, 4 times more than Kuwait, and 10% of what the world consumes. But it's a hard place to get into, and those who manage it, oil experts and journalists, find it harder still to get information they can rely on. Ever since the Saudis expelled the international oil companies in the late 1970s and nationalized the monopoly producer, Saudi Aramco, they've guarded their oil secrets closely. TV crews are seldom admitted. We bought these pictures from the Arabic network Al Arabiya. The Saudis claim to have 260 billion barrels under the ground, a quarter of the world's known reserves. Despite all the oil they've pumped in the meantime, that figure's stayed the same for almost 2 decades. Though hundreds of oil fields have been discovered in Saudi Arabia, 2 supergiant fields, Garwa and Safaniya, have been the mainstay of Saudi production for almost 70 years. It's hard to know what they're producing now. Yet if supply is to keep pace with global demand, Saudi Arabia's capacity is crucial. The optimists count on a doubling of Saudi production by 2020. The Saudi oil minister has insisted publicly and repeatedly that his country will deliver.
On this point, I want to be clear, ladies and gentlemen. We have more than sufficient reserves to increase production capacity and are committed to do so in line with demand growth. We believe that Saudi Arabia